back any further, I'll end up in meditation.
All right, guys, I will begin. My name's Nick. Thanks for being here. I'll give you a very quick, just tiny little background. I've been told I've got about 20-25 minutes, so I might actually share things pretty quickly and talk pretty quickly, but I am recording this and I'm going to put it up on my YouTube channel, so that way you can go back to it later and watch and slow it down. You guys do know, I thought it was amazing when I found out you can actually speed up or slow down a YouTube video, right? So you can make it faster or slow it down. Yeah, I thought I'd found fire when I realized that. So there will be someone at one point sitting here and doing a little demonstration. So that person will be on the video, but the rest of you won't be. Okay, so I did psychology at uni. Then I traveled overseas for a few years. I came back, I did some sales, I dabbled in some customer service and stuff, but then went back to my psychology roots, almost finished my internship, and then came across hypnosis, NLP, and helping people quit smoking, and it gave me an opportunity to work for myself, so it ticked a lot of boxes, so I did that, and I've been doing that ever since. But since I was young, there's been three real questions that I guess using natural herbal medicine to expand my mind, let's call it that, sort of got me questioning from a young age, pretty much from a mentor that I met. And the three questions that I guess that have really guided my life is who am I, why am I here, and what's this all about? So everything I do and everything that I am really falls into trying to find some answers, I guess, to those three questions. So in this journey of asking those questions, I've come across hypnosis, HeartMath. Just by a show of hands, who's familiar with the HeartMath Institute? Oh, only a couple. Okay, that's good. That's great. Very good. Because what I'm going to share with you guys tonight, I'm going to lay a foundation of like heart intelligence, and then hypnosis, and then sort of some science stuff. So there's sort of three sections. There's the intelligence of your heart, why it's important, the alpha brainwave state, alpha beta kind of state, which is kind of the hypnotic trance state, and then some science, and that will help, oh, what happened here? That will set the foundation of why we're gonna, why we're going to visualize. At the end, we'll visualize together, and this will be a technique that you guys can utilize, because I know last week we're very much about manifesting, and this is a tool that you can definitely use for that, right? So I've been writing a book for like 7 years, and this is what I've called it. I know it won't look very good on there, but HART, which stands for Heart Alpha Resonance Technique, and I'm going to explain what that is. So it's like a hypnosis on steroids kind of thing, right? But to give some context of why we focus it on the heart, I'm going to play this, because I'm sure you guys would agree one of the most powerful tools we can have and foster and develop these days is intuition. Would that be right? Like, the world is crazy, there's so much information, we go down all these rabbit holes, but the ultimate question is, how do I know what to follow when? We really have to tune in, right? As much as looking outside of ourselves is great, and videos and this and that, really intuitive guidance is probably key. And this technique I'll explain, and this hypnotic heart process is amazing for that. Amazing for developing ultimately a belief of I'm always in the right place at the right time. You know, and if you've got that level of belief and you really believe it, the intuition comes naturally from there. So I'm going to play, this is only a 3-minute video from HeartMath. This is quite amazing. Let's watch this for a sec.
We did an experiment here at HeartMath to study how the information flows between the heart and the brain. And we actually discovered something quite remarkable, something that surprised us. The participants in the study were connected to various sensors to measure their brain waves, their heartbeats, and so on. And then they were exposed to various images. Some were high arousing, like a car crash or a snake striking, while others were low arousal images like bunny rabbits in nature scenes. The participants were asked to push a button. They then saw a blank computer screen for 6 seconds. The computer then randomly selected one of these photographs that it displayed for 3 seconds. After that, the screen went blank for 10 seconds. They were prompted to push the button again, and they repeated this protocol about 30 times. When we analyzed all the data, the results were astounding. The heart seemed to know the images before the participants ever saw the images with their eyes. If the future picture was going to be one of the emotionally arousing ones, the heart rate started to drop about 5 seconds before the image was randomly selected to be shown on the screen. So nobody could know what this future picture was going to be. The heart had a much greater deacceleration than if it was going to be a calm picture. These results have since been replicated in many different independent labs around the world, actually. Well, a lot of people say that I don't feel it in my heart, I feel it in my gut. But here's what's really happening. The information comes to the heart first. The heart then sends a different signal to the brain, which we can measure. Then you have a brain response, and then a body response. And with the body response, like the feeling in the gut or the hair on the back of the neck, is where it becomes conscious. But the real flow of information is heart, brain, body. And this is all happening many seconds before the actual event occurs. So what this body of research is telling us is that the heart seems to be connected to a type of intuition that is not bound by the limits of time and space. But what is that source of intuition? What is the heart connected to? And how can we learn to tap into more of that?
Cool, huh? So what is the heart connected to? That's a big question to hold sort of park in the back of the mind, because this technique will help tap into that. Clearly it's tapping into some form of information, right? What could that be, right? And we're going to do a little process, so I'm going to get someone up. So someone will be coming up in a little bit to try this technology that someone's going to use in a sec. It goes on the ear. This has been developed by the HeartMath Institute. I got one of my certifications is from the HeartMath Institute. What this is going to do is it's going to measure, what these guys are big about is coherence and resilience. They've linked being resilient. The way they define resilience is being able to adapt to stress, adversity, and challenge, being able to adapt and recover, right? And coherence, which this measures, is that information between heart and brain. So when we're in a chaotic state of stress, overwhelm, anxiety, the heart rhythm has a kind of jagged kind of wave, and you'll see that here. So I know some of you might find it hard to see from far away, but I'll keep it here at the end and then you guys can see it. When you get into this technique where whoever's going to sit here just focuses on the heart and slowly breathes in and out, that's as simple as it is. You can do it anytime, anywhere. No matter where you are, who's around, what's happening, no one would ever know that you're focusing here and slowing down your breath. You can do it with your eyes open or your eyes closed. This is all leading towards tapping into this field that the heart must be connected to, right? They've done some research that shows the heart has 90% more connections up to the brain than the brain has to the rest of the body. So most of the information going up to your brain is coming from the heart first. So when you focus here and get this rhythm, which can be measured, you're actually expanding the connections in your brain. You've got more access to intuitive guidance, listening to your heart and getting guidance from the heart and all that kind of thing, right? So this other video I'll play later, but it'll give some amazing facts about the heart as well. But what I'm going to do now is someone who might be going through a bit of a stress right now, or could at least tap into it, and someone who's a meditator, someone to volunteer and come up here.
Maybe someone who's actually done some healing, and
either or.
someone who has
Oh, we'll do one person, yeah. One person who's going through a bit of a stress. You don't have to necessarily talk about it. You can if you want. because we're going to get a before and after kind of look. Once you just share a little bit about something that's stressing you, it doesn't have to be like anything major. It doesn't have to be majorly, personal or anything. But someone who, is feeling a bit of a stress, going through a bit of a hard time, and someone who's, I guess most people are meditators here anyway.
Who's got stress and meditates?
Jem.
All right, your meditation isn't working. Who's going to try it?
Let Jem have a go.
Pretty old, he's stressed.
Needs it.
Huh?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. She needs it.
Jem,
Well-
come on.
All right, come on down.
Yeah, probably look all right on the
Put this on your earlobe, probably your right. So she's not going to see this screen, but you guys will.
and we're going to go.
Put this on your right earlobe there. Okay, cool. So, while this sort of synchronizes a little bit,
Oh yeah, maybe not advertise my name.
okay. So you've got. Do you want to share a little bit about some kind of stress, like something that's?
My job's fucked. If that counts.
Okay, let's start with job. Okay, so why?
Hang on, who's gonna see this video? If they see this, this could be quite.
Yeah, we're just going to send it to your boss.
Well,
Yeah. Well, it's no secret.
Your
No,
heart rate
there's
just
just
went up then too.
that's the blood pressure. No, just
what makes work
stresses.
difficult? What's
Um,
stressful about it?
Challenges with people.
Do you manage people?
Yes, and I'm also managed.
Right. Okay. So managing people, most people know whoever's done it is probably one of the most stressful things in any line of work.
Yeah.
All right. So there are particular people that are stressful. Think about them.
Okay.
Okay, right, you've got them. Okay. So just imagine the last time you interacted where it was stressful and that kind of thing, and just run that through your mind. Just sort of sit with that for a little bit. Run through some of the stressful interactions that you've had with them.
You shut up.
Yeah, she's broken.
We all knew that.
No surprise. No surprise. Okay. Work staff, this person, maybe a few people. So we've got a little bit of an indication of what. Okay. So now we're going to click into one of the techniques that the HeartMath teach. It's the baseline technique, right? So close your eyes because it is easier, but you don't have to do it with your eyes closed. Focus in the area of your heart. Just drop your attention there and slow your breathing down. So maybe 4 or 5 seconds, find a rhythm of breath that's comfortable.
Too quick, smile.
Maybe 4 or 5 seconds in, 4 or 5 seconds out. If your mind wanders off, just bring it back to the heart. Visualize your heart expanding like a red balloon in your rib cage as you breathe in, contracting as you breathe out. Hold your awareness in the heart space. You'll know when it's there. As soon as it creeps back up into behind your eyes, drop it down. And just slowly breathe in and out of that space. Slow in, slow out. 4, 5 seconds in, 4, 5 seconds out. Nice, easy, slow breathing. Smooth, rhythmic breaths in and out. Keep focusing in the heart. It's doing the slow breathing for you. All right, cool. I mean, if we'd done this longer, it'd be more dramatic, but you can see pretty much from here how it looks a little more like a smoother wave than this bit, right? So what this bit indicates is that while she was in that stress state, this measures heart rate variability. It measures the amount of variability between each beat of your heart. It sounds a bit counterintuitive, but the more precise the amount of time that is between your heartbeats, the less coherent messages you're sending up, because your cardiac rhythm is rigid. It actually, like we say things like, oh, the heart should be like a Swiss clock, but that's actually incorrect. You need cardiac variability. So the more variability there is within each beat, the more coherent the messages you're sending up to the brain. So you could say that while she was in that stress state, she was sending chaotic rhythms, chaotic bioinformation up to the brain, which limits your decision making and blocks your intuitive intelligence. When she was focusing on heart and breathing, it was a more coherent rhythm, right?
Can I ask, Nick?
Yeah.
So people that are born with certain elements, say like a Rain Man type of bloke, right? They get their answers really quick and all the rest. Is that because would they be on a high scale of different rhythms in the heart?
Oh, that's probably more a cranial sort of intelligence than focusing in. That would be my guess. Yeah, I'm not really sure actually. So all right, cool. We're done with that. Yeah, thank you for coming up. Thanks very much. Anyone that wants to do that later, you can come back. I'll freeze that there so you can see it. Okay, so in terms of, there's a lot more, but I'm limited for time, why the heart is so crucial in this technique and focusing there first. Any of your meditations, if you just focus on the heart and slow your breathing down, you're adding so much more to your practice. The alpha is the hypnotic part, right? Which self-hypnosis, if anyone's even read a book, there's heaps of books out there. It's actually really easy to put yourself into a trance. You know, you can start with your arm up here, take deep breaths, and as it slowly drops, you're kind of saying to yourself, just using a mantra like, I'm going into self-hypnotic trance now. I'm going into a self-hypnotic trance now. And just sort of say in your mind, by the time my hand reaches, you know, the armrest or my thigh, I'm in a trance state, and you're feeling yourself slowly drop. Really, that's as simple as that to get into a hypnotic state. You can visualize a kind of countdown or an elevator, or going down some steps and counting it, seeing the lights on the elevator go from 10, 9, and when I reach 1, I'm in a deep hypnotic state. It's as simple as that. Self-hypnosis is really easy. The challenge is really coming up with the affirmations. The I ams, the ones that start with I am, are more powerful, and saying now, but believing it. No point, if your life is here and there's a Grand Canyon and you're trying to convince yourself you're here, you're not going to believe it. You can try and trick yourself and kid yourself with the words, but your vibration, you can't trick the universe with your vibration. When you say I'm abundant and I've got all the money I need, but you know you've got $3 in the account, what you're reaffirming is your lack, not, you know what I mean? You're reaffirming. So saying something more like, I'm getting better every day, I'm getting closer, things are happening in the right time. That's easier to believe, isn't it, than I'm abundant and everything's fine when you're in a vat of crap. You know what I mean? Like, you know, kind of thing. But finding the right affirmations, really, there's heaps out there. The self-hypnotic alpha part, really, that's pretty simple. But in terms of the visualization for this particular technique, I've been interested in unified physics as well, the physics that connects the really small quantum world and the cosmological stuff, right? Because they have to be made of the same kind of stuff, because big stuff's made of small stuff, right? So if you had to pick something that connects all things, if there was one thing that connected everything in the known universe, what do you think it would be?
The creator's energy.
Energy, yeah, that's one word for it. What's that? Yeah. Well, in terms of science, space is everywhere, right? And space has energy and information. Where there's information and energy, there's matter. So there's 3 interchangeable terms, right? And you may have heard that on an atomic level, we're 99.99% space. We are mostly space. There's space, inner space and outer space, right? So this is where we come into manifesting stuff, right? So we're very familiar now with this term. It's been really bled into the zeitgeist of our mind, of this parallel reality versions, multiverses. Are you guys familiar with this term, where there's like an infinite number of versions of you living every possible thing at every time. There's only now. There's no real past or future. Like, this is where people get often confused with past life stuff, like you go back in time. But what's been shared, which resonates with me, is that that's actually a parallel version of you that you've cross-connected with. Not necessarily that it's you, because we can't all be King Tut. I was King Tut. So was a million other people that have done regression. So who was it? You know, but you're cross-connecting to something that you may need for yourself here and now. So there's many versions of you living here and now. So if you want to manifest something, it helps to think there's a version of me with that, living that right now. It's a matter of connecting with that version, right? Does that kind of make sense, you know? So that's what I use when I'm doing this particular technique, right? And there's a technique years ago that a guy, it was called quantum jumping. Did any of you ever hear of that? Quantum jumping? It's, yeah, Goldman or something, Brett. His name, Goldberg or something like that. He's an older guy. But yeah, I think so. And he was doing this quantum jumping stuff where when he wanted to be a painter, he wanted to learn photography, he'd do a technique where he brings a version of himself that is a photographer, is a world famous photographer or an artist, and just tries to get some information. Well, what can you what advice can you give, and la. And he'd get a little message from them, and then he's this 70-something-year-old guy that started taking photos and doing art, and then got really sort of famous for that. But this particular technique too, right? But if we want to connect with the space that's in us, where a version of us is already kind of dwelling, because this space has infinite information connected to everything, right? So when you focus in the heart, we know that the heart is made of cells, right? Our body is made of 70 trillion cells, right? So you're going down, you're visualizing in terms of scale, right? So when we do this technique pretty quickly at the end, first we're going to visualize that we're actually in the heart space. So close your eyes for a second and just imagine, get your person, and this can change, obviously. This can change over time. Imagine you're inside your heart. Does it actually look like your heart? Can you see muscle fibers? Is it a temple or a building? It doesn't have to be the actual physical heart. I mean, that's what I visualize. Is it red and beating? Is there lighting in there? What's the lighting like? What's the feel like? Just imagine you're inside your heart. Everyone got some image? Anyone find it hard or cannot visualize being in their heart? Okay, cool. Great, that's the first spot. That's the first place you're going to visualize, right? Then, when you visualize going down a scale, because this is all scales, right? From the heart down to space. The next level of scale is a cell. Your heart has heaps of cells. So now imagine that you're in a cell that's in your heart. What would that look like? Come up with a visual for that. I visualize like what you see under a microscope, those little bubbles, all bouncing around. That's just what I visualize. I'll share what I visualize and you guys can build from there. Imagine what that would look like if you visualized you're in one of your cells in your heart. Got that? You can always build on this later. Now, we know what our cells are made of. Our cells are made of atoms. Each cell has about 100 trillion atoms in it, right? So an atom, the cliche look is like the Apple signal, right? But it's like fuzzy. It's like a fuzzy cloud of energy, right? So now imagine you're in one of the atoms that's in the cell. Just visualize that, whatever you think that would look like for you. There's no right, wrong, right? Now, atoms are made of neutrons, protons, and electrons. Now, a proton is like a tiny energy wiggle. It's even a tinier little bit than the atom. There's a specific reason why the proton is used, because it doesn't decay. There's never been a proton ever observed that has decayed. So it's like they're eternal energy packets. So imagine what that would look like, the proton in the atom. It's a tinier wiggle. You're zooming down even further, right? This is tiny, tiny, tiny stuff, very small. A proton, they've discovered, is the Planck scale is the very tiniest measurement we can observe at this point with our technology. It's tiny, tiny, tiny. It's another little wiggle that is on the surface of this proton. This plank, you could imagine it'd be like a wormhole. You've seen Contact or even Avengers where they go through wormholes, and Ant-Man and all that kind of thing. That shit's actually real. Like they're discovering that stuff for real. When you go through that wormhole, you come out into space, like an emptiness kind of thing, right? And this is the place where you can create where you want to meet a version of you that is living or has whatever the heck it is you want. Me personally, I imagine that I drift down onto a beach, and then I walk to the bush that's by the beach, and it's a golden pyramid, and I walk in there, and there's a door of light at the other end, and I call forth whoever it is, the version of me that's living this, or a guide, or a whatever it is, you know. But that's the part where you guys can get creative, right? Cool. And then when you're done there, you just go back the way you came. You then leave that space, you go up through this little wormhole, and then you pop out of it, and then you pop onto the proton, you pop out of it, and then you're in the atom phase, and you pop out of that, then you're in your cell, you pop out of that, and then you're back in your heart. So when you get coherent with this focused heart breathing, set an intention, hold that, and you literally are going down in scale in terms of the stuff that, this is the science that they're using to build like anti-gravity devices and stuff, and they're building stuff that actually works. So this isn't just pie in the sky fluff. They've developed blueprints and engineering and devices based on this science. There's heaps more to it than that, but yeah, that's just a visualization process that we can all use. Now that might not be the hypnosis kind of thing that people were expecting, but there's powerful stuff in there. Just focusing on the heart, breathing. Anyone else later that wants to come and, you know, have a look at this or have a go on it, no problem though. Any questions or anything? nickterone.com is my website. What's that?
Where do we go if we wanted to get like more information on the same stuff?
nickterone.com is a website for heart, like it's hypnosis stuff.
In the video,
What's that?
write your website.
Ah, yeah, no worries. nickterone.com is where I do HeartMath. It's hypnosis with HeartMath stuff, pretty much.
Is something you've developed?
Yeah, this technique, heart alpha resonance, HART, I've combined hypnosis with HeartMath stuff. Yeah. And this is just, well, I guess what I've combined, it's not like I've created anything new per se. It's just, okay, I know about hypnosis and hypnotic trance, and that's the alpha brainwave state. And there's this science where when you visualize going down, 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 and down, you go into a space, and space is full of energy. They've already confirmed that. And then there's these ideas of other versions of us. So it's like you're playing in a space that really can sort of attract and manifest pretty much anything, you know, in this space. And getting your heart brain in sync. Your heart, actually, I'll end with some more facts about the heart. I'll end with this little video. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Quickly.
cool.
It's almost an hour. Can you send us the link on the page?
Yes.
Maybe that might be the way to go, and everyone can sort of research it if they want to, yeah?
Yeah.
Thanks, Nick. You just go to YouTube, just press YouTube.
Oh,
Unless somebody wants to see a movie.
Are you hungry?
Down the bottom.
Yeah, and it's almost,
I'm manifesting pizza.
yeah, it's coming. We're having pizza tonight, everyone. It's coming soon.
It's magic.
can I play this real quick?
Yeah.
You use
All right.
the word pop a lot. You pop to that one, you pop to that one.
Oh. In fetal development, the heart forms and starts beating before the brain is developed. So the heart's the first organ that grows in your mum's belly. A mother's brain waves can synchronize to her baby's heartbeats. So the baby sends out an energy that the mother's brain synchronizes to. The heart sends more information to the brain than vice versa, like I mentioned before. Positive emotions help the brain in creativity and in innovative problem solving. by opening up the brain. We make bad decisions when we're stressed, don't we? There's a reason for that. Positive emotions can increase the brain's ability to make good decisions, obviously. Oh, anyway, that was, I think that might have actually started later, but anyway. All right, cool. That started halfway through, doesn't matter. All right, come and talk to me later if you have any other questions. All right, yeah, later. All right, bye.
So I'm going to walk out there and there's a Ferrari in the car park now.
If you believe it. Which you probably don't.
It might be, it might not be yours.